And now, a second Torah by the Meshekh Chokhmah. This is a more regularly scheduled one, but that's a kind of arbitrary decision on my part. So later on in the Parsha, Perek Memches Pasuk Chaf Beis, Yaakov Avinu is lying on his deathbed, and he tells his son Yosef, "Ve'ani nasati lecha shechem achad alechecha." I gave you one portion more than your brothers. Asher lokachti miyad ha'emori b'charbi uv'kashti, which I wrested away from the Amorites, Emori, whatever the in way of saying that in English is, b'charbi uv'kashti, with my sword and my bow. So Rashi says, b'charbi uv'kashti, hi chokhmaso u'sfilaso. This is his wisdom and his prayer. So, yet Rashi, following rabbinic tradition, takes it for granted that Yaakov on his deathbed would not be bragging about his military might. It is more in character to assume he was bragging about his religious accomplishments, and therefore he takes Charbi and Kashti to be the sword and the bow to be metaphoric for wisdom and prayer. The Meshekh Chokhmah says that Targum Onkelos translates this as tzelos'hi uva'ushi. Telos is prayer and va'us is request. In fact, telos in Aramaic is prayer. It's cognate to the Arabic salat, which you might hear our Muslim neighbors use because salat is their term for the 5 prayers. So, tzelos'hi uva'ushi, with my prayers and my requests. So, the Meshekh, I did not find this in Targum Onkelos. I did find this, however, in Targum Yonasan. So, let's assume it's a typo and it's Targum, he too is referring to Targum Yonasan. Tzelos'hi, so now he defines what's the difference between a prayer and a request. Tzelos'hi, my prayer, hu seder tefilah kavua. This is the established prayers. Like it says that in Shemon Esrei, that you have to go from Shevach to Tefilah to Hoda'ah. Right? The first 3 blessings of the Amidah are praise. The middle blessings are either requests or something about the day, and Hoda'ah at the end. And they are Ma'akev. And that's Toseftim Menachos. Uva'ushi, however, huba habakasha, that is the request. Asher umro imratza adam l'chadesh b'tefilaso me'in kol bracha. About this, the Gemara says, if a person wants to say something new in his tefilah, something in the image of each bracha, shoel adam tzarchav, person asks his needs, yulian perakama d'avodah zarah, and go look at the first chapter of the tractate of Avodah Zarah about this. Vina and Afkamina. Now this is the difference between the siddur prayer of tzelos'hi and the personal request of uva'ushi. Ki seder tefilah, the order of tefilah, shezu avodah kvua, that is a set service. Ein hakavana ma'akev. Concentration does not. Having kavana when you pray does not prevent the prayer. Obviously, you want when you daven to have kavana, but if you daven without kavana, you've fulfilled your obligation, with the exception of the first bracha. V'im kivein levavo bavos. If you have kavanah for that first bracha, the Shemon Esrei of Berachas Avos, sagi, it's enough. Ubikavanah muetes, and with less kavanah, sagi, it's also enough. Lo chen b'chidush, it's not true with innovations. Shemavakish adam tzarchav, that a person makes his request, u'mechadesh boi kavanah yisera, and when you say something new, you have to have extra kavanah. So, Charbi is the prayers that I say out of the siddur, and those we just added do not require, you can fulfill your obligation without kavanah. Ba'ushi is, kashti, my bow, is ba'ushi, my requests. And those are the personal innovations where I actually say what's on my mind, and therefore it requires kavanah, or it's not what's on my mind. Maybe included in this is that which they said in the first parak of Meshekh Tanis, Ein tefilah shel adam nishmas ela im kein mesim nafsho bekapo. A person's prayers are not heard unless he puts his soul in his palm. V'afal pikein v'hu rachum yichaper avon, and even so, as the pasuk says, v'hu rachum, God is all merciful, yichaper avon, he forgives sin. Lo kasha, kan b'yachid, kan b'tzibor. When you pray alone, you need kavanah. When you pray in the tzibur, you don't need kavanah. Perish, siddur tefilah shehu b'tzibor. The siddur prayer, which is supposed to be done in a congregation, av shehu below kavanah is kabelas. Even if you don't have kavanah, it's accepted. Lo keina bakasha chadasha. That's not true for the new request. Hitzricha liyot b'kavanah mufleges. Has to be with distinct kavanah. Brahma b'Yushalmi brachos. It says in the Yerushalmi and brachos, Shachitofel hayimespal gimel tefilah chadashos b'chol yom. Achitofel said 3 new tefillos every day. Skipping ahead a little. Hine, cherev hu. Now, what is the metaphor cherev? The I forgot the word. The guy who pulls the bow and arrow has to aim his bow, and it's only through his aim and through his strength that the arrow could kill somebody. Lezet karat tefilah b'shem charbi, sheaf below kavanah ruba, uva'ushi b'shem kashti. Therefore, tefilah is called charbi because it happens without even a lot of kavanah, without a lot of intent, and ba'ushi is called kashti, is called a bow because it does require intent. Now, I wrote about this topic from the Vilna Gaon. The Vilna Gaon, instead of tzelos'hi and ba'ushi as 2 words for siddur prayer and request, he uses Hebrew terms. Right? Hashiva Shalftena Kvarishana, restore our judges. Chanenu me'idcha deya b'ina haskel. Bestow upon us with grace various types of intellectual ability. It's all us, us, us. And then we get to Elokai Neshama Shenasatabi, my God, the soul which you put in me. That is after tefilah, and as the Gemara puts it, the various Tanaim Basar tzelos'hi Amar Hachi. After their tefilah, after their tzelos, they would say this. And one of them being Elokai Neshama. Elokai Neshama is the vetachanunim that comes after tefilah. It is the be'uzhon, not just the insertions that we have. For that matter, what do we put after Elokai Neshama? Tachnun. Tachnun, if you only say the words in the siddur, you have not done tachnun. You've only said the framework. You have a trellis and no plants. The point, according to the Gra, of tachnun is the personal requests, not each individual, not the lines as they appear in our siddur. The lines are just there to prompt us. So we have this idea that the charbi kashti, tzelos'hi va'u'ushi, tefilah tachnunim, the requests that impress in us what Anshe Knesset Agdola told us we ought to be thinking, ought to be relating to God, and then our expression once we did that preparation for how we personally prepare for God. Public prayer, because ideally we should be part of the public, and that ties into the shir from 10 minutes ago, versus private prayer of Elokai Neshama. So we actually have then two separate mitzvos of prayer. There's probably more. Shema, we could talk about whether vidui should be thought of as prayer. But right now we're talking just prayer itself. There's two mitzvos. The mitzvah to impress what Chazal told us we should be feeling and express how we feel. And those are separate mitzvos. B'charbi u'b'kashti. One last thought that is less directly tied to the Meshekh Chokhmah. The Marsha says the charbi refers to how Yaakov's response to Esav, who is al charbecha yichya, you'll live by your sword, as Yitzchak describes Esav, and kashti would be a response to an encounter with Yishmael, Vayechi roveh kashas, and he became great with a bow. That in Bnei Israel, we didn't get the mastery of the literal sword and the literal bow. Those went to our cousins. We wield the siddur. Have a great Shabbos.